I would say that it's probably a fair statement.
Okay. Why do you believe that?
Based on this here.
Okay. And do you have any knowledge of whether Dr. Holliday ever supervised MPSU at any time?
I have no knowledge of that.
Okay. Can you identify this document?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the board rule for committee on accountability, finance, and personnel.
Okay, and you're on that committee, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll read you here. There's numbered paragraphs here, and I'm going to read from the second paragraph. Okay? You see that? It says, this starts out the Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then it says, shall monitor. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that means must there, right? Shall means must?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you say yes or no?
Yes.
The personnel shall monitor and assist district and school progress in meeting the board's goals and standards. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then it says, including performance and program audits and other assessment reports. True?
Yes.
Okay. The committee shall consider the district accountability plan, the district report card, monitoring of reform initiatives, and monitoring of decentralization. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is that something that the committee actually does?
Some of these things I would say not necessarily. Monitoring of decentralization.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that one for sure, but in terms of the overall goals and standards, performance and program and district report cards, reform initiatives which are tend to be put forth by board directors themselves, yes.
Okay, so you do some of that, but you don't actually follow the rules as written. Is that fair?
We do the majority of that. What I'm saying is that monitoring of decentralization has not been identified as a project that we specifically worked on. It's probably coming up pretty soon.
Okay, and these are your own rules, right?
Yeah.
Okay, meaning that you could change them if you wanted to.
Yes, we could.
Okay. I'm going to direct you to paragraph 5. Do you see that there?
Yes.
Okay. The Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel shall have oversight of all district audit activities. It shall review the reports of the Office of Board of Governance / Audit Services, as well as those reports issued by external auditors to ensure that departments, divisions, and schools implement recommendations regarding internal control, compliance, economical sufficiency, and program effectiveness. Did I read that part right?
Correct.
Okay. And the purpose of that is so that the board can assure the public that all operations and programs funded with the public resources are operating effectively, efficiently, and economically. True?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Is that what the committee actually does?
Yes.
Okay. As a committee member, have you reviewed all the reports of the Office of Board of Governance?
All the reports. Could you explain that a little more?
I cannot. I will read again what it says. The Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel shall have oversight of all district audit activities. It shall review the reports of the Office of Board of Governance / Audit Services. Do you do that?
We do that.
Do you read every one?
If they're given to us, you got to understand that the Office of Board Governance gets these papers first, and then they must distribute them to the board. There could be some incident where they didn't come through properly or they got sidetracked in some way. I couldn't swear by that.
Sure. Okay, now we're going to move on to external audits. Do you review all external audits as a member of the Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel?
Yes.
Okay. And that, I assume, would include the Baker Tilly audit into the NPSU fraud, right?
That one, I'm not sure, depends on what it came through, but I do read yours.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you mark yours?
You will mark hers, please. Give me the darker one, please.
Mr. Riordan, which one do you have so I can give you the other one? Thank you.
Remark this one? No.
Not yet, no. We're gonna keep that in, it's on deck, as it were.
This one.
Okay.
Have you seen this document before?
I may have. This goes back a long time ago.
Okay.
And, sorry.
All right. So, when you say you may have, I just want to clarify, is that a yes or a no or something else?
Jacqueline, foreign questions. I asked and answered. Go ahead and answer again.
I say I may have because at the time that this came through, we were on strict virtual. COVID was pretty much running rampant at its worst, and I may not have seen this exactly as this, and why I would not have seen it, I can't answer that. I do not know. I just want to be clear that I may not have seen it, but my answer to you was, for the most part, I make sure I read these.
Okay.
And that's fact.
But you're required to do it as a member of the
I'm
committee.
required, but under those particular circumstances, I'm not going to swear that I saw this particular one
Okay.
at that particular
What about
time.
COVID made it difficult for you to read this document?
First of all, we were not meeting in person, and the technology was new to most of us, and the fact of it being online and having to print it and everything, I may not have spent the time to go through this whole document.
Okay, but you admit that you were required to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you believe that, let me put it another way, how do you believe the Baker Tilly audit of MPSU came about?
I don't really know, because at that time, we as a board were new to all of this, and we were dependent, and most new boards are, they're dependent upon assistance and directive from Office of Board Governance. And that's a big to-do. So if we aren't given the connection, if you will, between what's in these versus what the plans are and what department, because all of that comes into play as well, as to what the department's responsibilities are to resolving these issues.
Do you believe the board voted to conduct this audit?
To conduct it, I would assume that they did. They're hired by the district to do these audits annually.
Okay, so that would have been you, right?
It may have been. What I've noticed is that sometimes their contract covers 2 years. So, yeah.
But you were a board member in 2020, right?
I was a board member in 2020, but that didn't necessarily mean that their contract came up at that particular time. It could have come up in 2021.
Okay. Do
So,
you believe that?
Regardless of that,
Mhm.
since that time, I can tell you that, yes.
I don't know what that means. Have you read any other audits of MPSU since this time?
MPSU, no.
Okay.
Typically, I would say we don't necessarily get them.
So I've got a document here, written on March 1st of 2023, two members of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors. That would be you, right?
Yes,
Okay. And do you know who Paul Geib is?
yes.
Who's that?
He's the internal auditor.
Okay. And then, this is, I'll read this here, it says transmitted herewith, that's to you, is our report on the Milwaukee Public Schools University review. The audit report and recommendations have been reviewed in detail with the administration. Their concerns relative to the audit criteria, findings, and conclusions, along with responses to the audit recommendations, have been incorporated in the audit report. The responses show general concurrence with all the recommendations and include action plans for implementations. A follow-up audit will be scheduled 12 to 18 months from report issuance. If you have any questions regarding this report or would like the report to be placed on a committee agenda, please contact our office. Did you, after receiving this Milwaukee Public School University review, did you have any questions?
First of all, I'm going to check the foundation. You just read her information off a document you have not let her see, so I don't know how she can comment on whether she actually got that document. So it calls for speculation, lacks foundations, broad and vague.
Okay. Nevertheless, can you answer my question?
I don't know. I see this here, I see that there. This is 2020. Oh, what are you talking about?
Okay, so if you had an inter-office memorandum sent to members of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors, that would have gone to you, correct?
If that were sent to us, yes, it would have gone to us.
Okay, so my question to you is, do you recall ever receiving a report on the Milwaukee Public Schools University review?
Check the form foundation.
I don't specifically remember. That's quite some time ago.
March 1st of 2023 is quite some time ago?
Well, then that means that it came through. I'm looking at June 2020 here.
Okay. And then I'm turning to the second page of this letter from Mr. Geib. It says Milwaukee Public Schools MPSU review.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got Milwaukee Public Schools Board of School Directors, Robert E. Peterson, President, Susquehanna Taylor, Vice President, and then Marva Herndon.
Mm-hmm.
That's you, right?
That's me.
Okay. And then audit team, it says Paul Geib. He works for Milwaukee Public Schools, right?
Yes.
And Michael Leisky, he works for Milwaukee Public Schools too, right?
I don't know him.
Okay, but you know Mr. Geib, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is an audit, correct?
I'm going to object to the form of the question. Broad and vague, calls for speculation, lacks foundation. She doesn't have the document in front of her, so I don't know how she can comment on it. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I don't know.
Okay. I'll read again. Transmitted herewith is our report on the Milwaukee Public Schools University MPSU review. The audit report and recommendations have been reviewed in detail with the administration. Their concerns relative to the audit criteria, findings, and conclusions, along with the responses to the audit recommendations, have been incorporated in the audit report. Are you required as a member of the Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel to review the audit report sent to you by MPS Management?
No,
Okay, why not?
because that's not one of the duties of accountability, finance, and personnel. What is the responsibility is, it is the board's responsibility. And that goes through the channel of the internal auditor, comes from the internal auditor. At the same time, it's supposed to be the responsibility of OAE to make sure that the issues are resolved.
Right.
All right. Okay. So if there was a report that was brought up during a committee meeting, you would have been required to read that, right?
Check the form of questions, broad and vague, calls for speculation on what specifically the report is, who it's from, and so forth. Go ahead and answer if you can.
Ask the question again.
Sure. If there was a report that was brought up during the committee, to the Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel, you would have been required to read that report by your own rules, right?
Objections.
I would say yes.
Okay. Are you aware of any issues with, between the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction and MPSU regarding teacher licensing?
No.
Okay. Do we have a copy of this one? Please note that one. Thank you. Thank you. So this document 11, it's dated March 1st of 2023. It's the one we discussed that was sent to members of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors by Paul Guide. Okay. And then if you'll turn to the second page there, I believe it's double-sided. It says Milwaukee Public Schools University Review Audit 2023 to 32. Do you see that there?
Here you go.
No.
They're double-sided.
Okay. Yes.
March of 2023 is the date of this report, right? And it says at the bottom, Office of Board Governance - Audit Services. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Going over to the third page, it says Milwaukee Public Schools University MPSU Review Audit 2023 to 32. Do you see that there?
We got one more page.
Third page.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, I'm past it.
yeah. It's
Okay.
first page, second page, third page.
Oh, okay, you're doing it that way. Okay?
Okay, and you don't dispute that in March of 23, you were on the Committee of Accountability, Finance, and Personnel, right?
Correct, that was on the committee.
Okay, and in fact, your name is on this document, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's because you are one of the directors at this time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So as a member of this committee, you would have been required to read this document, right?
Possibly. And I'll tell you why. With such reports, it may not necessarily be given to us in that manner. The person that generates the report, I'm trying to figure out a better term, for Paul, for example, would be the one that would speak and give an overview or whatever of the report, and that would be the end of it. The board typically, unless you're committee chair, you wouldn't necessarily have had an opportunity to read this before the committee meeting. That's the point.
So it's your testimony that committee members don't get these documents before the actual discussion of them, right?
Check the front.
Sometimes that's a possibility.
Why does that happen?
Well, it depends on if they've gotten it through board governance. That would be their issue. I couldn't explain.
Okay.
There are pre-meetings held for these. If you're board chair, committee chair, then you should have it a week in advance, but that's just one person.
So only the policy and procedures at MPS is only the chair of the committee gets the documents a week in advance, and everybody else gets them at the meeting. Is that fair?
They get it close to the meeting when the meeting is posted, a couple days.
Okay.
30 days or so.
And if you look at this document in front of you, it's 11 pages, is that right?
Yes.
And it has, I'd say, 8 recommendations and findings. Is that fair?
And we got two.
Mm-hmm.